In the 5th-10th century, a ruler walked through a forest unlike anything the world had ever seen. Thousands of human bodies hung from wooden stakes. Men's, women's, children. Some had been dead for days. Others were still alive. The smell of death covered the land for miles. This horrifying scene was not created by an invading army. It was created by one man. His name was Vlad the Impaler. History remembers him as Vlad the Impaler. The world remembers him as Dracula.
Welcome back to Legends and Lore. Join us as we uncover another extraordinary story from history. If you enjoy these journeys into the past, be sure to subscribe and like the video so you never miss an adventure.
Vlad was born around 1431 in the region of Transylvania, in present-day Romania. His father, Vlad the Dracula, was a member of a powerful military order known as the Order of the Dragon. The word Dracula meant dragon. As a result, Vlad became known as Dracula, meaning son of the dragon. At the time, Eastern Europe was a dangerous place. Kingdoms rose and fell. Empires fought constantly, and one empire was expanding faster than all the others. The Ottoman Empire. To secure his father's loyalty, young Vlad and his younger brother Radu were sent to the Ottoman court as political hostages. There, Vlad spent years living among the people who would later become his greatest enemies. He learned their language. He learned their tactics. And according to many historians, he also learned cruelty. Years later, Vlad returned home, but his homeland was in chaos. His father had been murdered. His older brother had been buried alive. The boy who returned from the Ottoman court was no longer the same person. He wanted revenge, and he wanted power. After years of struggle, Vlad finally became ruler of Wallachia. From the beginning, he ruled through fear. One of his first acts was to deal with corrupt nobles. He invited hundreds of them to a grand feast. The guests ate. They drank, they celebrated. Then Vlad locked the doors. The elderly were impaled. The younger nobles were forced into brutal labor. The message was clear. Disobey Vlad, and you die. But impalement was what truly made him famous. His preferred method of execution involved driving a sharpened wooden stake through a victim's body. The process was deliberately slow. Victims sometimes remained alive for hours, occasionally even days. Vlad believed fear was the most powerful weapon a ruler could possess, and he intended to use it. One story tells of a golden cup placed in the center of the capital city. Anyone could drink from it, no guards protected it. No chains secured it, yet nobody dared steal it, because everyone knew what would happen if they were caught. The cup reportedly remained untouched for years. As Vlad's power grew, so did his conflict with the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Sultan, Mehmed II, demanded tribute and obedience. Vlad refused. Instead, he launched attacks across Ottoman territory. Villages burned. Soldiers were killed. Messengers were executed. According to some accounts, Vlad even nailed the turbans of Ottoman envoys to their heads after they refused to remove them in his presence. Whether entirely true or not, stories like these spread his reputation across Europe. The conflict soon escalated into war. The Ottoman Empire sent a massive army against him. Vlad knew he could not defeat them in a conventional battle, so he chose another strategy. Tejoch. He poisoned wells, destroyed crops, burned villages, anything that might slow the advancing army. Then came his most infamous act. When Sultan Mehmed's forces approached the city of Targovik, they encountered a sight that shocked even hardened soldiers. A vast field of impaled corpses stretched across the landscape. Thousands of bodies. Some sources claim as many as 20,000. The dead formed what became known as the Forest of the Impaled. Even the Ottoman Sultan was reportedly disturbed by what he saw. Vlad had achieved exactly what he wanted. Fear, but terror alone could not save him forever. His enemies multiplied, allies abandoned him. Political rivals waited for their chance. Eventually, Vlad lost his throne. He spent years in captivity before briefly regaining power. His return, however, would not last long. In 1476, Vlad Dracula met his end. The exact details remain uncertain. Some accounts say he died fighting Ottoman forces. Others claim he was betrayed by his own men. What is known is that his head was reportedly cut off and sent to Constantinople as proof of his death. The man who had terrified an empire was gone, but his legend was only beginning. For centuries, stories about Vlad spread throughout Europe. Many portrayed him as a monster. Others viewed him as a hero who defended his homeland against foreign invasion. Then, in 1897, an Irish writer named Bram Stoker published a novel. Its villain was a mysterious vampire count from Transylvania. His name was Dracula, although the fictional Dracula and Vlad the Impaler were not the same person. Stoker borrowed the name and some historical inspiration from the infamous ruler. The result became one of the most famous horror characters ever created. Today, nearly 600 years after his death, Vlad Dracula remains one of history's most controversial figures. To some, he was a ruthless tyrant. To others, a national hero. But one thing is undeniable. Few names in history have inspired as much fear as Dracula, and unlike the vampire of legend, the real Dracula actually existed. Yet perhaps the most frightening thing about Vlad Dracula is not the stories themselves. It is the fact that nearly 6 centuries later, we are still talking about him. Kings conquered kingdoms. Emperors ruled vast lands. Many of them have been forgotten. But the name Dracula survived, not because he built great cities, not because he created a lasting empire, but because fear can sometimes outlive power. Over the centuries, the man became a legend, and the legend became a monster. Books were written, movies were made, and eventually, the real ruler of Wallachia disappeared behind the shadow of the vampire that bears his name. Yet somewhere beneath the myths, the novels, and the horror stories, there was still a real man, a prince, a warrior, a ruler feared by both his enemies and his own people. And perhaps that is the greatest mystery of all. Was Vlad Dracula truly the monster history remembers? Or did the legend become even more terrifying than the man himself? If you enjoyed this journey into history, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and join us for more legends, mysteries, and forgotten stories. Until next time, welcome to Legends and Lore.